Melton. Thompson. Or excuse me, Pauls.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Festerson.
Here.
Gurnett.
Here.
Jerem.
Here.
Mr. President.
Here. I think they're trying to see if they can change. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for our invocation today by Councilmember Chris Jones.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, the invocation today, sadly in our city we have these episodes of violence that are recurring themes, and they're particularly heart-wrenching when you hear reports like we did of our latest shooting victim, a 1.5-year-old child. So we offer a moment of silence and prayer for this victim and the family for what they're going through. Thank you.
Certification of publication. City Clerk certifies publication in Daily Record, the official newspaper of the City of Omaha, on April 14, 2017. Notice read pre-council and regular City Council meetings April 18. A current copy of the Open Meeting Act is posted in a white binder on the east wall of the legislative chambers.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this meeting of the Omaha City Council. The Council thanks you for joining us today. As a courtesy to those in attendance, we ask you to please turn off or mute any of your electronic devices. Madam Clerk.
Resolutions, rate preliminary plats, and subdivision agreements. Pursuant to City Council Rule 70, agenda item numbers 5 through 6 shall be laid over 2 weeks for publication and public hearing. Pursuant to City Council Rule 70, agenda item numbers 7 through 12 shall be laid over 2 weeks. Liquor and resolutions, Ray Keno. Item 13 is the application of Della Costa LLC, DBA Della Costa 220 South 37th Avenue for a Class C liquor license.
Public hearing on agenda item number 13 is today. Proponents, please.
Mr. President, members of the council, Mike Kelly, 7134 Pacific. This is the old Bricks location, which I'm pleased to announce these folks intend to go into. Mr. Samuelson, one of the owners, is here if you need to speak with him, but it will be an upscale operation. So we are here for any questions you might have and ask for your support.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, are there any opponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, public hearing is closed.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve item 13. No further lights. Roll call.
Melton. Yes. Pauls. Thompson.
Yes.
Festerson.
Yes.
Gurnett.
Yes.
Durham.
Yes.
Mr. President.
Yes.
The resolution to grant is adopted 7-0. Item 14 is the application of Millionaire Minds Entertainment, LLC, DBA Rain Ultra Lounge, 8919 North 30th Street for a Class C liquor license.
Public hearing on agenda item number 14 is today. Proponents, please.
Mr. President, members of the council, again, Mike Kelly, 7134 Pacific. For the record, I'm here with Mr. James Overton. If you have questions. At the pre-meeting, it was raised the question about possibly this being groomed for a gentleman's club or something, and I assure you, Mr. Overton, kind of laughed at the comment that it's not been the plan. Doesn't know where the rumor came from, small city, stuff like that started, but that's not the plan. The plan here is kind of, a regular place, a neighborhood place during the day, maybe at night some entertainment, light entertainment. If you remember the Click Lounge, one time they had, this was where Councilman Thompson and I famously danced with the fat ladies. You recall that? And the same type of entertainment and friendly genre, I think is what we're looking for here. So we're here for any questions you might have.
Yeah, we might ask you for that dance again, too. We'll see.
I'm retired.
Are there any other proponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, are there any opponents who wish to be heard? Okay, public hearing is closed. Mr. Festerson.
Thanks, Mr. President. This is in my district, in the Florence business area. So I wanted to ask a few follow-up questions, either of you or Mr. Overton, who I did have a chance to meet with a week or two ago, and I appreciated him reaching out to me. In fact, we just drove by this location about an hour ago and saw work taking place there. So if you could just take a minute to talk about the plan and the reinvestment in the
Sure,
property.
James, why don't you come on up? I might alter the plan on the spot.
Basically,
Give
James,
me
your name and
I'm sorry,
address for the
James
record, please.
Overton, 3217 Ohio Street. Basically, what we're looking to do is actually offer some different entertainment options in the area. We look at the area of Florence as up and coming with Enzo's and Mouth of the South and other things that are actually in the area. And we're actually looking to actually build it up to be something along the lines of Benson. You know, just make sure that we have some different offerings. And like I said, the neighbors have taken good to us. We've been there for 2 weeks now on the temporary operating permit. We've catered to them. They like us, and the improvements that have been made to the actual building, including the parking lot and everything else that's been done over there, and the outside structure and cleaning the place up. So, I mean, it's a positive thing.
Good, thank you. And I know your family has experience running operations. I think the only disappointment so far is that you've said you're not going to be serving Jim's ribs, right?
Oh, you know, well, you know what? I actually went back on that one. I actually did that on Saturday. So every Saturday you
Really?
can come through and actually get some ribs. And we've been actually giving food away during our happy hours also.
That's good.
So, yeah, to make sure the customers feel comfortable and they have something to eat. And that was another thing. Eventually, we will actually add food and dining into the actual area.
Put me on your email, will you?
Absolutely.
So we just had lunch at Finicky Frank's, but we'll have to stop at your place for lunch next.
Please do. Look forward to it.
And then talk about a little bit the back space there. That would be the only concern. There's the volleyball court in the back. You
Mhm.
haven't quite determined what to do with that, but you're taking it slow, right?
Right. It'll be over a period of time, probably within the year or so, whatever. We were looking at actually possibly doing another development back there and making a small concert venue in the back to where we could give shows and entertainment like that. You know, something like the waiting room and things along that line to where we could actually give some actual artists come in and actually give shows for the area. I mean, literally, like I said, we've actually worked with the actuals, talked to the other bar owners in the area and everything, and actually talked to them about different things they would like to see happen, and they were actually on board with us. We're like, yeah, we'd like to see this area built up. The more foot traffic we have, you know, the better business we can do. So
Okay.
we're team players.
Okay, that's, several months off, a year off. How would you
A year or
describe
so
it?
off,
Yeah.
yeah, before we can get to that point. Before we haven't even drawn up the actual specs for the addition to the building yet.
Okay.
So, you know, it's just going to take a while. We've got to go through planning and all the different,
Yeah.
hurdles that go along with that, so.
So obviously you'd reengage the city if that came to pass, and
Absolutely.
we can reengage the neighborhood just to make sure everybody knows the plan
Absolutely.
and how it'd be handled.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, that'd be good. And I think you have also talked to the president of the North Omaha Commercial Club too, right?
Yes, briefly, interaction, phone conversation, and then we actually got invited to a meeting that they're having here, I want to say this week.
Great.
So, yeah, we'll be having some more interaction with them also.
I think that'd be positive too, to maybe join their group and be engaged.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, thanks, I appreciate it. And with that, I'd motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve. Dr. Thompson.
Yes, Mr. Overton, I notice your parent company is named Millionaire Minds. Is that a way of you projecting that you're headed towards being a millionaire?
Absolutely. Like I said, we always should exclude greatness, you know what I mean? And so we believe it, we believe in it, and we're going after what we do. Literally, this is the only business that I own in North Omaha. I own a lot of different things. Clothing stores, restaurants, barbershops. We do a lot of different things in the community. We're just operating under that mantra.
Millionaire mindset.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve item 14. There are no lights. Roll call.
Melton. Pauls. Thompson. Festerson.
Yes.
Gurnett.
Yes.
Jerem.
Yes.
Mr. President.
Yes.
A
I'm glad to
resolution.
know Jim's, Willie's going to be sending some ribs and stuff.
There you go. Thank you. Glad to hear it.
Best in town. But
The
go ahead.
resolution is
Thank
adopted
you.
7-0. Item 15 is the application of Natco, Inc., DBA Artaco, 12995 West Center Road for a Class I liquor license.
Public hearing on agenda item number 15 is today. Proponents, please.
Hi, I'm Steve Snyder, 19732 Chandler Road, Gretna, Nebraska.
Thank you.
Ryan Jung, 16259 Reynolds Street in Bennington.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents who, I can get you all here just to answer any questions we might have? Okay, thank you. Are there any other proponents that wish to be heard? Seeing none, are there any opponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Moved and seconded to approve item 15. No lights. Roll call.
Melton. Pauls. Thompson.
Yes.
Festerson.
Yes.
Gurnett.
Yes.
Jerem. Mr. President.
Yes.
The resolution to grant is adopted 7-0.
Thank you.
Item 16 is PRM North Park LLC, DBA My Pie Pizza, 2085 North 120th Street. Request permission for an addition of an outdoor area to their Class I liquor license location.
Public hearing on agenda item number 16 is today. Proponents, please.
Yeah, hi, Blair Horner, 1770 North Colson Avenue, Fremont. I'm here representing My Pie Pizza.
Thank you.
Answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, are there any opponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Moved and seconded to approve item 16. No lights. Roll call.
Melton. Yes. Pauls. Thompson. Yes. Festerson.
Yes.
Gurnett. Yes. Jerem.
Yes.
Mr. President.
Yes.
The request is approved 7-0. Item 17 is Elks BPO Omaha Lodge 39, DBA BPOE Lodge 39, 6410 South 96th Street. Request permission to appoint Richard J. Klinger, manager of their present Class C liquor license location.
Public hearing on agenda item number 17 is today. Proponents, please.
My name's Rich Klinger, 6120 South 146th Street, Omaha. I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, are there any opponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Second, no lights. Roll call.
Melton. Yes. Pauls. Yes. Thompson. Yes. Festerson.
Yes.
Gurnett.
Yes.
Jerem.
Yes.
Mr. President.
Yes.
The request is approved 7-0. We can take items 18 and 19 together. It's Voodoo LLC, DBA Voodoo Taco at 725 North 114th Street to appoint Richard D. Anderson, manager of their present Class C liquor license location. And item 19 is 2295 South 67th Street.
Thank you. Public hearing on agenda items 18 and 19 are today. Proponents, please.
Mr. President, Mike Kelly, 7134 Pacific, appearing here on behalf of Voodoo LLC. Mr. Anderson is here should you have any questions for him, and I want to just make a public statement here on behalf of him and Voodoo that while we have acknowledged the tragic loss of Mr. Newton here recently, maybe not known publicly, a few months ago he had actually transferred majority ownership to Mr. Anderson. So fortunately, at least for employees and for business, the business is going to continue as usual and will grow. Their model is still in charge. So he's here for any other questions, but we want to make sure we clear that up. Although tragic personal loss, at least on the business side, everything is still the way it was.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, are there any opponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Moved and seconded to approve items 18, 19. No lights. Roll call.
Melton. Yes. Pauls. Thompson.
Yes.
Festerson.
Yes.
Gurnett. Jerem. Mr. President.
Yes.
Mr. President, items 20 through 28 are all applications by EHPV Lottery Services for Big Red Keno satellite locations. We will remove item 25 and have a public hearing on items 20 through 24, 26 through 28.
Let me.
I'm sorry, I skipped 20.
20.
My fault.
Yeah,
I'll
20
do
is-
that first. TP Restaurants Omaha LLC, DBA Twin Peaks, 17330 West Center Road. Request permission to appoint Richard A. Gall, manager of their present Class I liquor license.
Public hearing on agenda item number 20 is today. Proponents, please.
Hi, Richard Gall, 3545 North 175th Plaza, here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, are there any opponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Moved and seconded to approve item 20. No lights. Roll call.
Melton. Yes. Pauls. Yes. Thompson.
Yes.
Festerson.
Yes.
Gurnett.
Yes.
Jerem.
Yes.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Request is approved 7-0. Now we'll go to the lottery operators.
You got your exercise for today.
I know, I needed it. Yeah, there you go.
Item 21 is to grant approval to the location at 2603 South 120th Street, Blue Legends. Item 22 is 1019 South 10th Street for Flicks. Item 23 is 10920 Emmett Street for Ice House Sports Bar. Item 24 is 4915 North 120th Street for Saints Pub, Roanoke. Item 26 is 6720 South 168th Street for Skybox Grill and Bar. Item 27 is 7610 Dodge Street for Smitty's Garage Burgers and Beer. And item 28 is 3309 Oakview Drive, Smitty's Garage Burgers and Beer.
Public hearing on agenda items numbers 21 through 24, 26 through 28 are today. Proponents, please.
Mr. President, members of the council, my name is Katrina Coffey. I'm Vice President of Marketing for Big Red Keno. We're located at 11248 John Galt Boulevard. I'm here to ask for approval for the Keno applications you have before you. And I also have all the owners with me, so if you need to answer any questions, we have them here as well.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, are there any opponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Moved and seconded to approve items 21 through 24, 26 through 28. No lights, roll call.
Melton? Yes. Pauls? Yes. Thompson? Yes. Festerson?
Yes.
Gurnett? Jerem? Mr. President?
Yes.
Resolutions are adopted 7-0. Now we'll go back to item 25. It's a resolution to grant approval to EHPD Lottery Services for a Big Red Satellite Keno location at 1008 Bancroft Street, same old bar.
Public hearing on agenda item number 25 is today. Proponents, please.
Again, Katrina Coffey with Big Red Keno, 11248 John Galt Boulevard. I would like to withdraw this application at this time, please.
Thank you. Moved and seconded to withdraw item 25. No further lights. Roll call.
Melton? Yes. Pauls? Yes. Thompson? Yes. Festerson?
Yes.
Gurnett? Yes. Jerem? Yes. Mr. President?
Yes.
Resolution is withdrawn 7-0.
Thank you.
The public hearing on agenda items numbers 29 through 37 are today. If you wish to address the City Council regarding these items, please come to the microphone, indicate the agenda item number you wish to address, identify yourself by your name, your address, who you represent, and if you are a proponent or an opponent. And Johnny, too.
Good afternoon, everyone. Johnny Rogers, I'm a proponent in favor of getting a street named after Kathy Hughes, the boulevard and Paxton Boulevard. I'd like to say that Kathy's, born here in Omaha, Nebraska. Our family was from Omaha, Nebraska. She went on to do great things worldwide, internationally, and it's quite an honor, I would think, to be able to get her to come back to be recognized. It's for people of young age and for elderly people to be aware of all the contributions she's made on radio and television, the path she set for our youth, and the direction. And she's a great role model for us that I think would be good for our city and all of our community to show appreciation for her.
Thank you, Johnny. And if I might add, Dr. Thompson, if you don't mind, if I go first a little bit to add on to what Johnny has talked about. Kathy Hughes, just so my colleagues and the audience may know, Kathy Hughes started Radio 1, and she started with one radio station in Washington, D.C. She had a child, an infant at the time, and they slept in the radio station on the floor until she built up over, I believe it was 600 radio stations, and now she runs a television network called TV One.
Right.
That you see on a number of different access programs. Cox carries it. I know DirecTV and a number of others.
It's the largest African American station pretty much in the United States.
Kathy is the American story, and I'd be honored to work with you, Johnny, to help make sure that street gets named after her. She should be here for Native Omaha Day, so it'll be almost as big an event as when your street was named. So.
I think it might be a little bigger.
Yeah. Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah.
Dr. Thompson.
Yes, Mr. President, I too want to say some of the same things that you did, and Kathy is a great inspiration, not only for Omaha, but for women too. And the fact that a person can have that perseverance, push through, and prove all the odds and all the skeptics wrong. And so I'm a very big proponent. Johnny, you can count on me. I just want to take a moment and say I appreciate Johnny Rogers. I have purchased your book, 10 Minutes of Insanity, and I suggest that others should read it. And Johnny, you and I go back to Tech High, and I just want to say thank you for being a great role model. It is true that you can start off on the wrong foot or a foot that has some things lacking, and then persevere yourself, and then end up as a great role model. And you've always been somebody I've looked up to. Thank you for being a role model for kids, especially for at-risk kids.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's been a joy growing up in Omaha, Nebraska, and to watch our community grow. the support that we all get and seem to give as much as we get. Things are really coming together for us, and that's why I choose to live here. I could probably live anywhere I want to live in the country, but I'm from Omaha, against the current.
Thank you, Johnny.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
I would also like to take personal privilege and bring up, talk about item 37, if I could, and if I could bring up David Jacobson, Vice President of QTech Rock. It has been this council's pleasure to appoint him to the MECA board. His term will begin on, boy, your term will begin on May 10th, so you get started right away. Wanted to take the opportunity, David, to thank you for your service. Thank you for willing to serve on the MECA board. It's going to be an exciting time, I think, for you, and I just wanted to say personally, I appreciate the work that you have done in this community overall on a number of different levels with various people in the community, and continue to keep your work close to your heart, and work to make this city do your part to help to make this city a great city, and we appreciate your service you serving on the MECA board.
Well, I really appreciate the comments. I believe strongly in it, and I think MECA is doing some great things, and that area of town with film streams there, I think it has a potential to be very strong. So thank you, and we'll continue to do whatever we can for Omaha.
Thank you. And just in case you all didn't know, Film Streams is run by David's daughter. And what do we say, David? She's the boss there, or whatever.
Yes, she runs it. She gives me orders.
Thank you, David, again for serving. I appreciate it.
Thanks for noticing it, and I appreciate everything everybody does.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Motion approved. Second. Moved and seconded to approve items 29 through 37. No lights. Roll call.
Melton.
Yes.
Pauls.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Festerson.
Yes.
Gurnett.
Yes.
Jerem.
Yes.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Items 29 through 37 are adopted 7-0. Ordinance on final reading. Item 38 is an ordinance to create Street Improvement District Number 6882 for the purpose of improving South 79th Street from Shirley Street north to Warworth Avenue and Shirley Street from South 78th Street to South 79th Street.
Public hearing agenda item number 38 is today. Proponents, please. Seeing none, are there any opponents? Or proponents? Yeah. Okay.
I'm Nancy Dahlgren, my husband Jim, 1702 South 79th Street.
I am Catherine Morrow, 1533 South 79th Street.
I am Katie Bowerly, 1546 South 79th Street.
Jim Dahlgren, 1702 South 79th Street.
Matt Kuzi, 1709 South 79th Street.
Marcella Kime, 1709 South 79th Street.
Thank you. Did anybody have a statement they wanted to make, or are you just in support? Just in support. Okay, thank you. Are there any other proponents who wish to be heard? Yes, sir.
I was going to say, I can show you my pictures of the street. I mean, I counted today, there's 41 potholes in front of my house. And so, it's, okay, thank you.
we believe you.
Too short of the record.
Are there any other proponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, are there any opponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Mr. Jerem.
Yes, and having walked your street not too long ago, I personally had the opportunity to walk it after it had rained. So I walked on your yards rather than the street because the street was just too muddy and a mess to do that. But I do want to try to do something while you're here, and that is talk to Public Works a little bit about the state of the street improvement districts as it pertains to city participation in the financing of those, so you can have some reliance upon that while you're here as we move forward. So I don't know whether it's Mr. Fitzer or Stubbe, but in the past few street improvement districts that have come through the council, the city has had a participation pledge to the tune, I believe, of 50% on the street improvement districts, and wanted to ask you about whether this would be one of those.
Bob Stubbe, Public Works. So For everybody's information, we put together kind of an advisory group to assist us in developing a policy, and Councilmember Thompson was one of the members of that particular group. We've come to close to closing up that policy. We're going to be scheduling a meeting with the mayor here in the very near future to review that information. There is recommendations by the group to provide participation, and this is a street improvement district, which is concrete with sewers and everything, which is, I guess in my opinion, is the preferred alternative, is to go with concrete. So I'm glad to see the residents are going that direction. So we would anticipate that once the mayor sees that policy, that it will be coming in front of the council for approval.
Well, good, and it's good to hear that should continue, and as we move forward, I think next week will be another resolution to trigger the 30-day protest period. So if anyone changes their mind, that should be starting soon. And once we get through that, then the process of going forward with the design and all those things can happen. I don't know how they're going to do with all those nice mailboxes you have, because they seem like some of them might have snuck in a little close, but you're okay with that? Okay, all right. Well, thank you all for coming, and I'm sure we'll be in touch as this moves forward. Move to approve.
Second. Moved and seconded to approve item 38. Dr. Thompson.
Yes, I just wanted to tell the group that came down, thank you for choosing the SID over the RMD, and it was the right decision to make. And I think some of the success on Poppleton Street is going to have a cascading effect. Now that you see how nice Poppleton is, yours is going to be the same, and hopefully that whole area will go SID and get rid of that asphalt once and for all. So thank you for being a leader in that area.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Did we vote on it? Did we vote? No. Okay. No. Motion. It's been moved and seconded. No further lights. Roll call.
Melton. Yes. Pauls. Yes. Thompson.
Yes.
Festerson.
Yes.
Gurnett.
Yes.
Jerem. Yes. Mr. President.
Yes.
The ordinance is passed 7-0. Pursuant to City Council Rule 7D, the public hearings on agenda items number 39 and 40 shall be held on the third reading. Item 41 is an ordinance to amend Section 1 and Section 2 of Ordinance 41004, vacating part of Hillendale Circle right-of-way.
Public hearing on agenda item number 41 is today. Proponents, please. Seeing none, are there any opponents? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Next item.
Item 42 is an ordinance to approve an agreement with the City of Lincoln Police Department in the amount of $9,100 and authorize funding for such agreement.
Public hearing on agenda item number 42 is today. Proponents, please. Seeing none, are there any opponents? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Next item.
Item 43 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 19 of the Omaha Municipal Code, providing for the levy of business sales, receipts, charges, and invoices, occupation tax as requested by property owners located within an enhanced employment area.
Public hearing on agenda item number 43 is today. Proponents, please. Seeing none, are there any opponents? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Next item. Oh, I'm over light. I'm sorry. Mr. Festus, going fast.
That's all right. Thanks, Mr. President. I just thought it was worthwhile to talk about this concept a little bit, probably engaging either the law department or planning department on it, since it's a brand new tool that for the first time will be inserted into city code if this is approved next week. And I know that we have some developments coming soon that intend to use it, so it'd be a worthwhile exercise just to talk a little bit about how it does work as a new tool for development in our city. So, Mr. Kratz, I don't know if you're the right person or if Ms. Taylor is here. Or...
I'll have Jennifer come down.
Okay. Thank you. So as she arrives, this is called an enhanced employment area adopted by the state legislature. And all we're doing today is inserting this into code, but can you give us a short overview of how this would work going forward and what developments could be eligible and how they go about that process?
Sure. Jennifer Taylor, City Law Department. Oftentimes this tool is referred to as LB 562 funding. It was actually added to the Community Development Law by the state legislature back in 2007. So although we have not employed this, what we call occupation tax funding tool here in Omaha, it has been used in Gretna, the Nebraska Crossing outlets. Lincoln has also created 2 enhanced employment area districts that they have utilized for this type of funding. Most recently, Lincoln is using it with South Point Pavilion, which is the hotel and condo complex they're building at 9th and O. What we are doing here today, this is a general ordinance amending our code to allow us to use occupation tax funding as a financing tool for projects here in Omaha. What this does is allow us to create future districts. Any future district that would be created under this ordinance would have to come back before this council to have a specific granting ordinance created to specify the district, the manner in which it's funded, how it's collected, types of businesses it applies to, et cetera. So this is a general code change that codifies the ability to use a tool that is allowed to be used under the community development law.
Okay. And should a development choose to use it, who qualifies and how does the district get determined?
Sure. If the area is not already designated blighted substandard, it would have to be a development that generates a minimum of 30 jobs and $3 million in investment. At that point, they can come in and they can ask us to create an enhanced employment area, at which time we would designate the area and then determine to add a 1.5%, 1.95%, 2% additional occupation tax onto, oftentimes the way Lincoln does it, is the sales receipts for all the businesses in that particular area. So that additional 2% tax would be collected on a monthly basis through a report that those businesses would turn in to the city and then remit the money that goes with that. Those businesses can finance that additional occupation tax by either passing the cost along to their businesses or absorbing the costs themselves and just paying the tax out of pocket.
And so you have to show that you have the new jobs and investment thresholds, or if you're in a blighted and substandard area, you automatically qualify.
You can use it, yes.
Okay. And when that comes back to a city council for approval, it's a supermajority, is that correct? Or is it just a plain majority?
It's just a plain majority. It would be an ordinance that would be, it would have 3 readings, and the district would be created, and the types of businesses and the amount of the tax that would be imposed would be part of that ordinance. So what we're doing today in the code just says, in general, we can impose this tax in any way, shape, or manner the council approves in a designating ordinance for amounts, types, places, et cetera.
And I imagine in most cases, developments of this nature would also involve a redevelopment plan or redevelopment agreement that would conceive using this tool, such as the Capital District, where we hope Crossroads, that is part of that conversation too. But it would actually be a separate ordinance outside of that mechanism?
Yes, and it does, to be clear, the redevelopment plan has to allow for or consider the fact that you would create an enhanced employment area. So for example, in the Capital District, their redevelopment plan actually calls for and considers the creation of an enhanced employment area in its redevelopment plan. So we could proceed with the Capital District enhanced employment area in the very near future because their plan already considers that. If another area wanted to use it, we would have to either create a plan and have a redevelopment plan come before the council, or we'd have to amend an existing plan to contemplate creating an enhanced employment area.
Okay. And this isn't something the city or the council implements or places onto a development. The developer must want to do this and engage the city proactively, right?
The developer has to bring the request to the city and ask to do that. And then the developer, the way that we're looking at it, has to also be willing to indicate to its retail shops and its businesses that they're going to impose this tax upon them.
And must those tenants, do the tenants have a say, or is there a say they can choose to be there or not?
Well, once the tax is imposed in a particular area, that tax is imposed. So it's probably incumbent upon the developer to make sure that their future businesses know that that tax will be imposed.
Okay. And the length of it, is it 10-year maximum, 20-year maximum?
It sunsets when there is actually it'll sunset when the amount that's being financed has been paid off. I think it is a 20-year maximum.
Okay. Check that. All right. Thank you. And the developer has considerable leeway to determine how this works, both the amount and as to who it applies to, retail, restaurants or not, all those things, right?
That is the idea about having the specific creating ordinance come back before the council to determine those issues, how much, what businesses it applies to, et cetera. So that is true. That's up to the developer when they bring the request forward.
Okay. Well, I do think this is an important tool, a new tool for us that can hopefully facilitate major developments like the Capital District and Crossroads. And should they desire to use it, that's something that I think would come back to the council and can be determined at that time. But to the extent it's necessary to create those new jobs and new investment is something I would support. So.
And like I said, it has been successfully used out of Gretna with Nebraska Crossing and both in the Haymarket and the new South Point development in Lincoln. So there has been some successful use of it in the state.
Great. Thanks. Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Pauls.
Thank you, Mr. President. The question I have on this, I mean, I like the concept, probably was involved with it a little bit, but if I would vote yes on this, let's say let's just use the word, let's crossroads. So let's use occupation tax, and they were going to tax the people coming in there, buying something. Is that true?
It would be an additional tax placed on the business. It would be up to the business as to whether or not they wanted to pass that cost through to their customers on their sales or absorb that cost themselves.
Okay. Chances are they would pass it through. So then it would be hard for me to say I never voted for a tax increase.
It is an additional tax that is placed on the business. It is up to the business as to how they want to use it.
It would be hard for me to say that I'm not approving additional taxes.
It would be an additional tax placed on that specific business in that area.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 44 is a special ordinance levying special tax and assessment to cover the cost of constructing sidewalks in district number SWR 2016-01.
Public hearing on agenda item number 44 is today. Proponents, please. Seeing none, are there any opponents? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed.
Resolutions. Items 45 is a resolution to approve the Muse at Creighton University Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project Plan for a redevelopment site located northeast of 20th and Izzard Streets. It's over from 3/28/17 for publication and public hearing. Had publication. There is an amendment requested by the Planning Department.
Public hearing on agenda item number 45 is today. Proponents, please.
Good afternoon, Bridget Hadley, City Planning. The amendment is again to change the name to just Muse TIF Redevelopment Project Plan. And that is because Creighton University is not directly a part of this particular project. This is a private project from a private developer. However, it is targeting the Creighton University student population. So with that, this particular project has been vetted by the Planning Department and the TIF Committee to comply with the Community Development Law and the TIF guidelines. And the amount of the TIF is just over $5.4 million for a project cost that's estimated to be a little over $30 million, $30.5 million invested in this area just northwest of the North Downtown area. So as you can see by this aerial, this is Izzard Street, this is 20th Street, and this is Nicholas. So what's highlighted in blue are the four properties that are a part of this particular project. Creighton University would be over this direction, and the new dental school this is Cumming Street right here. So this would be Cumming Street here. The dental school would be just over here. So there's a lot of investment that is beginning to occur in this area with Creighton, and now with this particular project coming forth to construct two student housing buildings, 4 stories. And what I wanted to also point out is, you may recall, back in 2011, the summer of 2011, the North Omaha Village Revitalization Plan targeted this particular area for potential redevelopment. Knowing that the North Downtown was growing and opportunities would be coming, they had a concept that looked at this orange and dark orange and lighter orange area as a mixed-use area, this yellow for lower density housing. This area would involve some housing, residential, and the site is actually right here where this D is. So this is Izzard Street, and this is Nicholas, this is 20th Street. So the project right before you is actually right here. So I just bring this up to say it does dovetail a little bit into the North Omaha Village Revitalization Plan that was approved, in that it is a strong catalyst to bring activity into this area. An area, and the particular site is the former Micklin lumber site. A lot of industrial in this area, so it's converting that and will bring the vision that may involve a lot more mixed-use residential in a very vibrant area. So again, two buildings, 4 stories, 239 units, and this is the site plan. So to just give you some bearings, this is Izzard Street here. This would be 20th Street. This would be Nicholas Street. So this is building 1, and then this is building 2. And there would be streetscaping as far as public improvements all along the site. additional parking along Izzard Street, and even some along 20th. Some of the sidewalks have already been improved in that area, but any new improvements that are necessary to sidewalks, curbs, gutters will occur as a result of this particular project. And then here is a rendering looking at the 20th and Izzard location. So this is the southwest corner. That is essentially this corner right here that you're looking at. This would be the main entrance to the building, so it kind of opens up as you look toward Creighton University and look toward Cummings Street. This particular project, again, all residential. However, there would be about 5,000 square feet of commercial space, and the developers are anticipating maybe some startup businesses, maybe some incubator businesses that some of the students from Creighton University may want to begin in this particular area. So there could be about 6 full-time jobs that could occur as a result of this project. And then here's just some more elevations. This is the 20th and Nicholas site, or elevation area, so just some different visuals from different angles. This is looking at 19th, so the opposite side, and Izzard. And then this is looking at the interior of project sites, the elevations. The developer has been working with our urban design team to get the design to where it's at, and there may be some tweaks along the way, but basically they have signed off on the design and are really pleased with this particular project. With that, there's 278 parking stalls that will be a part of this project, all surface. And if I go back to the site plan, so there would be parking. So the building is essentially taking this entire block. The parking would be at these particular sites, surface parking. And I know that attorney's representative is here, as well as Tim Roth, who is representing the Sino Natural Bridge. Part of the development team is here if you have any specific questions. Other than that, I would ask for your approval.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents who wish to be heard?
Brent Beller, 11440 West Center Road, here on behalf of the project applicant. I think Bridget did a fine job. Just want to reiterate, to stay in the good graces of our neighbors to the north. It's not affiliated with Creighton University. There obviously will be a marketing effort to draw in Creighton students, but not in any form or fashion officially affiliated with the university. With that, myself, Tim Roth, drove up from Springfield, Missouri, here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, are there any opponents who wish to be heard? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Mr. Paul. You didn't turn your light off. Okay. Just a comment, if you would, please. I just wanted to say that this is in my district, so, and I thank you for all of the work that you're about to do. I also thank you for being sensitive to my neighbors to the north.
Sure, sure.
Appreciate that, and welcome to the neighborhood, and I hope to see some good things from it.
We hope so as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
It can be approved. We can.
Motion to approve.
The amendment?
Move the amendment, yes.
Second. Roll call.
Melton?
Yes.
Pauls?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Festerson?
Yes.
Gurnett? Jerem? Mr. President?
Yes.
As amended.
Second. Roll call.
Melton? Pauls? Thompson? Festerson?
Yes.
Gurnett? Jerem? Mr. President?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted as amended, 7-0. Item 46 is a resolution to approve the Omaha Council Bluffs Consortium Consolidated Submission for Community Planning and Development Programs Consolidated Plan 2017 Action Plan.
Public hearing on agenda item number 46 is today. Proponents, please. Seeing none, are there any opponents? Seeing none, public hearing is closed.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve item 46. No lights. Roll call.
Melton? Pauls? Thompson? Festerson?
Yes.
Gurnett? Jerem? Mr. President?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted, 7-0. Pursuant to City Council Rule 7D, the public hearings on agenda item numbers 47 through 57 shall be held on the third reading. Pursuant to City Council Rule 7C, the public hearings on agenda item numbers 58 through 61 shall be held on the second reading. Chairman of the Board of Equalization, item 62 is Chairman of the Board of Equalization, reports approval plans of assessments at their regular meeting held April 11, 2017.
Moved and seconded to approve item 62. No lights. Roll call.
Melton? Pauls? Thompson? Festerson? Gurnett? Jerem? Mr. President.
Yes. Moved and seconded to adjourn. No lights. Roll call.
Melton? Pauls? Thompson? Festerson? Gurnett? Jerem? Mr. President.
Yes.
We stand adjourned at 3:44 p.m., or excuse me, 2:44 p.m.